And we are live. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome. Goodness me, do we have a Springbok team for this weekend? And it's really starting to get very real, isn't it? Because this is what Rassie Erasmus has picked. Dave Rennie has made his picks, and it is now time to get serious. At the end of the day, all the franchise games and all the drama that's come with, we've had war of words a little bit this week. Now we really get into it. Now we start to look at what these two teams are going to do this weekend, and I, for one, am absolutely buzzing with the teams that have been selected. So let's get into it. And before we do, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Big news, people. Big news. Big. In fact, the biggest news, even more so than this team, is that we have decided if we get 10 super chats of 35 Rand or more, we will give away 2 Springbok tickets on the stream to the game on Saturday. Okay, so if we can get to that within the next sort of half an hour, 45 minutes as we do this show, we will do a giveaway, and almost an instant giveaway. We will basically, literally, we'll put a form out, enter it if you can come this weekend, and we will literally spin a wheel on the show right now and give away those tickets. So let's get the super chats in, people. Let's try and get somebody to the game this weekend. And I'm going to be throwing out a poll saying, do you like the Springbok team? And if you don't, I want to know why. Simple yes or no. But if you don't like it, then we need to know why. It can't just be a case of, no, I just don't like it. No, well, what don't you like? What would you change? What would you change? This is the big question, because that's what I want to know from you guys. You know, you can't just sit on the fence and complain about it. What would you change? Which players would you bring in? Which players would you leave out? What do we think about the All Blacks team? We'll look at that team as well throughout the stream. So please just smash a like on the video, as we mentioned, and get voting into the polls, so we can really get into it. And I'm just buzzing. I think that's the main thing. I'm absolutely buzzing for the game and for the fact that we finally have our team announcement. So what have you got to say, people? And before we sort of have a look at it, and I'll start to sort of break it down, but a couple of comments very quickly. ALT talking about the first 20 minutes being important. Kitenical talking about Peter Steph the Toy being the captain. You are indeed correct. No Sia Khaleesi this weekend, so we'll talk about that and where that is. I personally think that we're going to see Sia next weekend, and I do think he will play, but obviously from a fitness point of view, might not have been entirely certain on that margin. Right. In terms of the team, as is on the screen over there, 1 through to 15, Oxen Chair, Malcolm Marks, Vilko Low, Eben Etzebeth, Ruan Nokia as our engine room. We've then got Paul de Villiers, Peter Steph the Toy, and Jasper Visa as our loose trio, very dynamic loose trio. Pace between Grant Williams and Sash Famigoma Zulu. Sasha back to start in the big test we've had so far, despite being a bit of a lukewarm performance against Argentina. Kurt Lawrence, Damien Delindi, Jesse Creel, Cheslin Colby, and Damian Willemse, as far as I'm concerned, the form player in the world right now. And I'm just excited. I think that's the main thing. I am really, really buzzing for this team, because I think there's so many different parts of it, which for me make it very interesting. So in terms of let's start where we want to start, don't we? That front row is epic, absolutely epic. In terms of wanting to dominate a front row battle, that's a front row to do it. I think you've got the two best scrummaging props in the world over there. I think that Vilko Low is an immovable force come scrum time. Around the park is usually more where he's been slightly criticized, but no one can criticize his work at scrum time. And that's at the end of the day, the platform that we want. Then you've got Oxen Chair. Well, there are big questions about Oxen Chair and his fitness. But do you want to know what the phenomenally smart thing is? And this is where, like, Rassie Erasmus really starts to come into his own. The way we have picked this side, it's incredibly funny. Well, not funny, but cool. The way we have picked this side is that we have got 2 loose head options on the bench and 2 hooker options on the bench. Well, between 3 players, we've got 2 hooker options and 2 loose head options. So there might be a bit of worries about Oxen Chair, fitness-wise. If Chair goes down after 20 minutes, you could put on Jan Hendrik Wessels and he could play 40 minutes or 30 minutes. And if he starts to tire after those 30, 40 minutes, you could then put on Gerard Steenekamp for 10, 20, 30 minutes. And you could have 3 different loose heads. And you could play Malcolm Marx at full 80. You could even actually not play Malcolm Marx at full 80. You could still take Malcolm Marx off if you needed to and put it on Marco for starting. That's how, when you look at the selection, is a lot of small things that are really, really smart about the way we can do it. So big shout out to Dean Adams says, not an essay, but we'll get the ball rolling. And this is what you love to see. People who just get involved with super chat so they can help getting people there. Big shout out to Sports Dictionary as well for sending their super chat. 2 down, 8 to go. And we will, as mentioned, give away those tickets here on the stream. Werner says, Vilko won't last 80. We've got Zach Porthen, who I think could probably run a bloody half marathon. He looks so fit and fast around the park. So that front row is epic. Even Etzebeth, well, Rassi spoke about the fact that he felt he saw the old Etzebeth, back in against Argentina, and that was really good to see. Ruan Nokia has been one of our most consistent performers. So it's a really, really powerful tight 5. But you've also got the work rate of Ruan Nokia, and very importantly, the line-out work of Ruan Nokia. Paul de Villiers. What a moment for him. Only made his debut within the last month, basically, month and a bit. Had a phenomenal Nations Championship. And all of a sudden now, bang, he is ready to go. They released him. Now, Siya Kolisi is supposedly fit and came through training, but I don't know if they're completely convinced or else they made a tactical call. I think that he obviously isn't fit. I think that if Siya Kolisi is fit, you play him, both from a playing point of view and what he does for the time. So I've actually got the press release over here, which has just come through, and looking to try and see if I can get some news about Siya Kolisi and what he's had to say. Right over there, he said, Siya trained well with us this week, and although we could have selected him for this clash, we thought it would be best to select Paul for this weekend's game. We are playing 4 tests against the All Blacks, and Paul has been playing well, so we're excited to give him a chance. Well, there we go. So it's not even an injury. They've said he's trained well, and he could have been selected, but they've decided to go with Paul de Villiers. That's a big statement to basically say we've backed the youngster ahead of our captain, who is theoretically fit. Massive. Well, people, we are halfway there to giving away these tickets. So big shout out to Jean, who said only would have started Mani. I'm not upset. I would have also loved to see Mani get going, but I also think that Sasha, if you're going to play Sasha, I think starting is not the worst idea, because I think Mani is probably a bit sharper. And I think as we get to later in the game, we could really start to tweak that back plan. You could move Sasha to 15. You could move Willemse to 12. You could tweak things. And I think as the game goes up and opens up, then I think all of a sudden Mani Liba comes on and he can come into his own. He could be a complete new threat within that mix. And a big shout out to K3 Andy. I mean, Andy, you just power this channel. One of our most loyal members over here. People, by the way, if you are part of the members club, first of all, if you're not, why aren't you? Get involved. Come and join our WhatsApp community. We're actually going to be launching a platform at the end of this week for all our members, where they can download the analysis decks that myself and Ronaldo do at Rugby Unlocked. You can get some exclusive content. You can get access to some more giveaways, as well as a whole bunch of other things, including the WhatsApp community, which Andy will tell you has been quite a lot of fun, listening to different people and seeing what everybody's consuming. So go and get involved with the members club. Join the WhatsApp community. Get involved with the lads. And I think it's a really, really cool situation we've got there with all the people getting involved. Adrian Stain says 6-2 or 5-3. Love these options. That's another big part of it. So before I get to that 6-2 5-3 split situation, just want to talk about that loose trio. I mean, this is where I think this team is so dynamic, because there's a lot of power in this, and no one's going to sit there and say Paul de Villiers isn't a powerful player, because we've seen him carry it well. But it's the pace for me between Paul de Villiers, Peter Steph, the toy. I mean, those two are quick around the park, and then the physicality of Jasper Wiese, who's just brutal. I mean, I spoke about this, and I didn't say I had a disagreement, but I spoke about why I preferred him to Cameron Arnicle. Well, actually, on Twitter, actually, it was an X. and I said that we missed Jasper Wiese, even though Cameron Hanekom had a great game. And I said the big reason for that was that he's just so good in the close quarters. I don't think anybody can do what Jasper Wiese can do in such tight spaces. And from in that regard, I think he's unmatched. So he's a very important cog. And Rassie was very quick to say, even afterwards, when they said, "Oh, Cameron Hanekom was really good. What did you think?" And he said, "Yeah, he was." And they said, has he like put himself up for the number 8?" And Rassie said, "No, he's still got Jasper." So he was quite blatant about saying that Jasper Wiese is thing. And yesterday during our prediction stream, somebody said the biggest difference when we between Eden Park last year and Wellington when we won was Jasper Wiese and getting on the front foot, getting over the advantage line, and there's also small parts that he brings in, such like this breakdown work and the likes of that, which is very underrated, to be honest. Now, Grant Williams, I mean, this backline we thought we knew was going to be the starting backline. So Grant Williams starting is also an interesting one because I think he's a player who does come off onto very good effect and can really up the ante. But I also think that he is probably our best scrum off. And we definitely here want to tire out the All Blacks. That's an interesting concept, isn't it? We've spoken all about over the weekend, and the coaches have been kind of firing shots at each other and saying, oh, the Boks are going to try and slow things down. And the Boks are saying, watch out for that breakdown. But I think that, and apparently we've been absolutely apparently the players have been getting drilled from a fitness point of view, that we've based ourselves at altitude very deliberately, and we've drilled these players within an inch of their life from the sounds of it. And I think that the Boks want to slow it down because they can't keep up with the pace of the All Blacks. I think in many ways we're going with the opposite effect. I think we are going to try and absolutely overload the All Blacks in the first sort of 40, 50 minutes and try and really then take them apart later on in the game. And that's why Grant Williams is going to speed up the game. Sasha, who's a running threat, we can very much get them moving, which I think is a really, really positive thing. Kurt Lawrence, Chesney Colby, Damien Willemse, I mean, it's the best back three in the world. And then you've got Dalendi and Jesse Creel, who are just so consistent. And I mean, Damien Dalendi, 100 caps this weekend. A player who, when he first came through, I think a lot of people didn't quite understand. Even on the Mad Show, he said he didn't quite understand, Damien Dalendi's sort of vibe when he first came through. He thought he was a bit one-dimensional, but now you start to realize that what he offers you in terms of go-forward ball and the soft skills and being almost like an auxiliary loose forward is a huge addition. And the fact that he gets to 100 tests is really, really cool. Peter Steph Toy said to get to 100 tests, I think it is next week. And if we look at it over here, Peter Steph Toy is on, he got 99 caps. So we're going to have Peter Steph Toy getting to his 100th next week. And this is one of the 40 thinking from Rassie Erasmus, that we've got a 100th test this week. So it's a huge moment for Damien Delaney to get up and the team to rally around him as if the occasion wasn't big enough. And then next week we have the same thing with Peter Steph Toy. Team will get up, he'll get up, and we've got a big occasion. And if you can go kind of like, 2-0, then good luck trying to sort of level the series from there, I think. And then interestingly enough, in terms of players who are approaching that 100 test, because Damien Delendi is just the 10th player to do it, Peter Steph will become the 11th player. But you've got Jesse Creel, who is got 91 caps, will have 91 caps after this weekend. So he's approaching that. Malcolm Marx is playing his 90th game this weekend. So there are a couple of players in and around that sort of 100 mark, which is quite cool to see. Big shout out to this guy. We have lost it over here, who reckons that he had a score prediction which was Boks by 15. So big thanks for the super chat and sending that out there. And Dion as well, big shout out for the super chat. People are one super chat away from giving out these tickets, and I can literally drop a little form onto the chat with the simple name, YouTube name, a confirmation that you can go to the game this weekend if you were to win them. Because please don't be that person and go and enter the competition if you can't go. I'm just going to sort that out quickly. Because I think what I was saying, what I was talking about. I've now completely lost my train of thought. Sorry, I want to get that ready. But yeah, I think we're gonna get to a 10 super chat, which is really, really cool. Because Jean, it was number 9 saying, is Wilco the correct starter for the speed tactic? Will he keep up? Well, that's the big question, isn't it? In terms of his lineup, he's the only one. I think he is a bit of an odd one out in terms of that fast, quick um, pace of the game and trying to wear him down. But in many ways, his job will not be to wear them down in and around the park. They'll probably just say, Volker, just go sit down and we'll fetch you for the scrums. Because that'll be the big thing as well. In term, we're going to try and move them. We're also going to batter them at scrum time. And we're going to make them defend. We're going to make them defend them more because that is also draining. You don't just tire a team out by making them run. You hammer them with relentless attack. You hammer them with go forward ball and making them make tackles and making them scrum and the likes of that. So this is the big question: is if Vilkilo will get around? I personally thought that we were going to see Thomas du Toit, but apparently not. Apparently not. Somebody mentioning that they wanted to see Carly Sardi. So I'll try and get through all the comments of people. There are obviously so many. And K3 Andy has come and clashed again, and we have gotten to the goal. So we are going to give those tickets away. And I'm going to drop the form in the chat, and we're going to move. We're going to give away tickets, people. This is what you like to see. This is what you love to see. Is a little Thursday ticket giveaway. And the only thing that I do ask is that if you do get those tickets, you got to show us how the game goes. You got to go find our presenter and do a little trial live segment as well. But we've got enough people. We're going to go and give away those tickets. And no, don't do that. And someone's going to go and watch the game this weekend. So let's get the form out quickly. Please don't enter the form if you can't go. And please don't enter the form if you're going to give me an email address you're not going to reply to. Enter here to win the tickets. Right, I'm going to pin that chat. So go get those entries. Anybody here that's watching that is available to go this weekend, 2 tickets to the game. Vernon Nash, very shout out saying Boks could break New Zealand record for most points on the world ranking system after the 4 games. Well, it needs some pretty good results. But an interesting aspect to that, I saw that the world rankings permutations have come out, so you can kind of get through them. And big shout out to Dion. He says, how long will it take before World Rugby brings back ref meetings so coaches on both sides don't have to raise simple things through a media conference? Very, very interesting situation there. And I'm going to go talk a little bit about where we are at with that, because I think it's the whole ref talk and the whole likes of that's been a very big topical part of it. So in terms of the ref meetings, what World Rugby have done is they have basically changed it so that you no longer have ref meetings. You can only have a meeting with the ref if both coaches agree. And Rassia said he doesn't want to have a meeting. He doesn't want to have a meeting with Dave Rennie. Before that, we then basically sort of said that we didn't want to have that Rassi said he wants to have meetings, but didn't. And all of a sudden now we said that we're not going to have these coaches meetings, and we are going to now basically air out our dirty laundry. And I don't think that it's not great, but it's an interesting sort of tactic. I think we're in to see new things this weekend. I think that's a very big part of it, is that I think we are going to see some new tactics, which is going to be quite exciting. And I think that the All Blacks have obviously hit back at Rassie and the team saying, we're not going to, it's a bit weird to sort of air out the dirty laundry out in the media. They're not going to do that. But I think a lot of it is just they've given feedback to World Rugby about the lack of access to the referees. But it is ironic that Russia said that, we can't really speak to referees. And then he himself said no to the referee chat. And now we come out and we do mention things in the press conferences. So it's not ideal, but I think he's done it very deliberately. I think that they've done it very much so that they're going to say that we're frustrated that we don't get to speak to you without having the other coach present. We're then going to reject the fact that we're going to do that meeting because we're not going to dictate to us how and when we speak to the refs. And then we're going to air out our dirty laundry out in the media conference because we're going to sit there and say, well, where else do we get to have this opportunity to speak to you guys? The head coaches can sort of chat, but we can't. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation. And I think the biggest frustration continues to just be the lack of access that we have to get feedback and get constant feedback and be able to relay that sort of feedback. But it has been a very interesting war of words this week. And I think that what will happen post this game, I'm very keen to see in terms of team announcement days, in terms of how much more we say in the press. We put out Jaco Paper and Felix Jones. They never really do press unless it comes to wanting to mention certain things. So it's all very, very, very interesting, and I'm in for it. I'll try to look at some of the comments, guys, but there are a lot. So yeah, as mentioned, the easiest way to make sure that if you want to ask a question or get something is do send a super chat, and I'll make sure I get to that. C. Roger says if it includes airplane tickets from Ireland, then I can go. Not quite, but we are coming to Ireland. Well, we're not. Maybe we are. Somebody would have to send in a couple more than a few super chats for us to get to Ireland. But the Boks coming to Ireland at the end of the year. So hopefully, maybe what we'll do is we'll try and get a ticket giveaway for our Irish fans. We'll try and reach out to a few people and see if we can make that happen. But we've got 25 people already who are going to go into this draw for the tickets. So big shout out to all of you guys. And Campos says, with this Boks team, All Blacks will win. Boks have lost games in the past with bad selection. Seems they haven't learned from those mistakes. Dorian says, as Rassi said, you can no longer tell the ref of any interesting moves they may decide to try out. And welcome to Jean, who has joined the Legends Lounge. We'll see you on the WhatsApp community a bit later. Big shout out again. If you'd like to join the WhatsApp community, the link is in the description. Jay Sereno, who's one of our All Black fans, says, business-wise, for the house to win World Rugby betting agencies, the new script for the All Blacks, new optimistic rugby to be the wave worldwide. Yeah, I mean, interesting, especially when I do chuckle at the adding the betting agencies part, because that's been a big criticism of the Boks at the moment, is how much that they have prioritized their betting agency. But at the end of the day, the betting agency is what's funding so much of our sport, funding our creators, funding out all the stuff. And whether you like it or not, the reality is it's an integral part of keeping the game going. But interesting to sort of see what the shape of the game conversations are going to do moving forward. Going back to looking at our team, I think the bench is not missing players, but interesting. But no Cameron Honeycomb will be a big surprise for some people. No Ulrich Lowe, no Luat Diaga, no Franco Mostert. Those are big players. And Marco van Staden, I think that even Siya Kolisi being potentially fit and then deciding they're not going to go with him this weekend, even off the bench, is an interesting call. But I love the fact that we've gone with the uninjured Vessels and Zach Porthen. I mean, Zach Porthen's had a phenomenal season. He really has put himself on the map and shown what he's all about. And hopefully long may that continue, because we've now seen that these younger players coming through are ready. And I think what's quite exciting is we're seeing a new generation of forwards coming through that are very physical, but are so good in the loose. I mean, Zach's soft skills are incredible. So it's a really dynamic front row because they've got lots of pacing around them. And then shout out to somebody like Kobus Wiese, who has just grabbed the proverbial bull by the hands and said to Rassi, that's Rassi, by the way, the Bear's name is Rassi. So he literally said to him, I'm playing against the All Blacks. Just with his performances, just with some of the moments he's had where he's been able to impact the game and show physicality and a level of skill as well. I think that's also the important thing. We don't just have the big bulking players anymore. There's a level of skill that's now required for a lot of these players to make it to this level and to play for the Boks. So Jean, who's our latest member, reckons boxing win 29 points to 13. Errol says team spot on, let's support and be aligned with Rassie. In terms of what we said, I mean, over 700 people have voted and saying 90% of them saying that they do like the Springbok team. So there we go. Most of the people agreeing with it over here. People, I'm going to close out the form in about 2 minutes. We've got 30 responses. So we're going to close out the form in a little bit. And I'm going to throw all those names into a wheel. I'll even put the wheel on the screen, shall we? And see who's going to get those tickets. So it's going to be very cool to sort of see some of our subscribers getting to the game. We did it last year, and we'd also like to hopefully do another ticket giveaway for F&B Stadium. So yeah, keep getting involved, people, especially getting involved in the members club, where we're going to try and do other small giveaways as well. The other big thing is, people, on mypicks.app, you got to make sure you go and get involved there as well, and go and get your selections in for the weekend. You get your score predictions in. I hope you guys all got your team predictions in, and hopefully that's being scored. And that over there, right there, by the way, is the latest member. That's why we get the little sirens there. And a big shout out to DeVilliers LaRue for the super chat there as well. But yeah, get onto mypicks.app, go and get your score predictions, and come and join the Mad Community Squad. We're going to be putting out the link to the Greatest Rivalry Tests specific score prediction league as well, so you can come and try and try and take on the lads, you know. And to be honest, to beat myself and Wes, you know, you're gonna have to be on it. You're gonna have to be on it because, well, to be fair, Wes has come back strong. Steve has faded away a little bit, so it's slightly worrying. But we're trying to get better. At the end of the day, we're trying to up the ante. We're trying to get back to being a decent predictor. But go and show us that you guys seem to know your stuff better than us by going onto mypicks.app and getting involved over there. That's also the platform that we use to rate the players after the game as well. So lots of different things you can go and do on MyPicks. So my big thing now is you don't want to look too far ahead. Is looking at this side, you now kind of wonder what's next week's going to look like. You know, are we going to see Kane and Moody next to Andre Estes in the centers? Are we going to see Ethan Hooker getting a run? Are we going to see Siya Khaleesi back? Are we going to see Carly Sardi getting a run? Are we going to see Lou Diaga maybe getting a run? You know, how much do we rotate if we lose? How much do we rotate if we win? You know, how do we make sure that across the 4 games we're going to be competitive? You know, how do we get to that situation? How do we make sure that, I mean, we want to try and go and win all 4 games. I think that's pretty unrealistic to a certain degree, but we want to try and do it. And how does that work? How do we get that right? How do we make sure that we rotate enough to keep all the players fit? So I'm just going to quickly go and close out the form over here. So you guys have had your chance here, really, to go and sign and fill in the form. So I'm going to where do I fill this? Where do I? I haven't used this in ages. I need to go and close the form. Give me, bear with me, people. Bear with me. This is all for the greater good. I need to find a little bit of a wheel for you guys to, you know, and give it away. And I think we have sorted it now. Yeah, I think theoretically it should no longer be accepting responses. So we're going to get those names onto a wheel, and I'll put that wheel on in a little bit. What have we got to say, people, about the Sasha call? I think that's an interesting one I want to talk about. What are we saying about Sasha? Is that the right pick? Is it the wrong pick? Is it a brave call? Is it not a brave call? Like how confident are we feeling about Sasha's form? and where he's at. And I'm like 50-50. I think he had a average game. I don't think it was his strongest game against the Argentines. But I don't also think that it was obviously his first game in a long time, so he needs to get back to form. I just felt like he was a bit overplaying it at times, and I think that was kind of the more his issue really than anything else, is the fact that he was overplaying it. So it was almost like a situation of him trying too hard, and I think that hopefully, you be quiet. I'm thinking that hopefully it's been a few weeks now where he can just settle back into where he's at. Hopefully, he had some really good runouts within um the camp itself, and to get back to feeling like himself. Because we all know, I mean, Sasha on his day, when Sasha's playing his best rugby, he is absolutely incredible. He really is. He is arguably, last year at times people were saying he was the form fly half in the world. So that is kind of the player that he can be and is. The question is he there right now? And I don't think he's exactly where he wants to be, but hopefully on Saturday, you rise to the occasion, because that's what we want to see. We want to see a fit and firing Sasha really go on and look to try and decimate this All Black side, and he can do it. He is he's a three-pronged threat. He's a kicking threat, he's a running threat, and he's a passing threat. Is he as good at passing as Monty Liebach? Probably not. Is he as good at his tactical kicking as Andre Pollard? Probably not. Is he the best running threat? Definitely, I think he's the best running threat. So, but he's also got the best combination of all of them. And you've got Monty Liebach, who can come on the second half and cook. And I think that, no one's saying that Andre Pollard is not going to play again. But I think we are definitely into the era where those two are our top choices. I think that for me is the reality of where the Boks are at the moment. But before we sort of chat anymore, shall we give some tickets away? I think we should give some tickets away. I think we need to see who's going to the game this weekend. So I have prepped a wheel, and there are 40 names. In fact, I think there's 42 names on this wheel, and we are now going to spin. And the winner of these, please, if you don't respond by the end of today, we will reach out to the next person. So we will spin it after this and get down the list, because we need to be able to transfer these tickets to you quickly. So if you do win, please make sure that you get involved over there. But we are spinning, and the winner of 2 tickets to Boks versus All Blacks this weekend is none other than, where's that? Well, there we go, George Mendoza. Well, big congrats, George Mendoza. You are the winner of those 2 tickets, and we will be in touch. So we'll use that email address that you have supplied, and we will reach out to you and get you those tickets sorted for this weekend. The big condition is that, again, you need to make sure that you sort that out by this evening, and hopefully go and find out our man on the ground this weekend. Go and say how's it to him and get some chats in. Let's go to some of the comments. So people, we're going to start wrapping up in a little bit, and we will have the Rassie Russell's press conference ready at 3 o'clock. And you can hear what he's had to say. But last few comments, and Kitson Nicole says, even if Sasha has a mid-start, he needs to be allowed to go into the series 4 tests in 4 weeks. Rugby fans saying, to think that the 2 wingers and centre that would have been starting in this All Black side aren't even here. They're injured. Tanjita Clark and Lester Fanganuka, heaps of depth. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Both teams are missing players. We've got no Kwaka Smith. Sia Khaleesi, I think if he was fully fit and there wasn't any sort of injury doubt over the last couple of weeks, I think he probably would have started as well. Obviously, Snyman is a big loss for the Boks at the moment. Lojan Klein is a pretty big loss for the Boks as well. So there are players missing on both sides, but fun to see how the next players sort of filter. And that's the big thing that Dave Rennie has spoken about, is the fact that they want to try and build that depth, and he needs, this is where they need to try and start getting into that. So, as K3 Andy says, enjoy that game, George. Yeah, so we'll reach out. Dion saying, nice one, George. And, well, K3 Andy, big shout out to you for making it happen. And for all the guys who got involved, sent a super chat and got us to the goal to send that over to George. in terms of the content to come, because we start wrapping off, so I can get you guys to the press conference and the likes of that. We have got a Rugby Unlocked episode coming out at I think it should be about hoppers 4-5 o'clock, and the title is quite simply how the Boks will beat the All Blacks this weekend. Myself and Ronaldo do a huge dive into the defensive systems and where the Boks are going to be on the back foot or on the front foot, and that's going to be a really, really cool battle this weekend. So if you would like to go and see exactly what the battles are to look out for this weekend, to go and see what the tactical part things are, go and check out Rugby Unlocked. It'll be out at about 5 o'clock. I'll commit it to now. 5 o'clock will be the drop of that. Go and check that out, as well as then if all the members, and we've got a new member in John, we send out the presentation that Ronaldo puts together, the whole analysis presentation, and we send that out to our members and make it available for them. So become part of the members club, and you can go and get access to that. The Dave Rennie press conference is on the channel. The Rusty press conference will be on the channel very, very shortly. He's got Damien Willemse of a company, although I don't think there were that many questions to Damien. Then we will have All Blacks training from a little bit later. And then tomorrow we're going to have everything, people. The team photo, the training at Ellis Park, the captain's presser, which will be Peter Steph, the toy, and Zwandile Stick. The All Blacks training tomorrow. And then obviously on match day, we will be live with the watch along. We will have the press conferences. We're going to have a match day build up. We've got so many cool things lined up. And we've actually got like a bit of a community 23 of people who have been getting involved recently. So get involved on the watch along and come and spend the day on Saturday. Unless you're at the game, like George is going to be. And there it is. Username Jill Moses says, "Oh yes, boy, I love this. Steve said we're going to beat." So happy Coach V says, and I'm happy STAs and in yes, boy, let's run at these. You see, that's the kind of vibes I'm looking for. Is Gerald needs to be as happy, and I'm sure George will be about as happy as Gerald is over there, because he's going to be at the game. So unless you're at the game, surely we'll see you guys on the live stream, in the chat, throwing out some banter and the likes of that. I need to pick up. I need to get the clothing ready. Got to get the jerseys ready and the likes of that. And if you have any requests as well, please let me know in the comments below, and on the new members platform as well. You can also submit some video ideas and the likes of that. So people, it's been a very fun stream. So many comments. Sorry I couldn't get to more of them. It's just a lot going on. But a big shout out to everybody who sent a super chat, everybody who joined the members club and ask questions and the likes of that. We might even go live tomorrow, maybe even on the road between Ellis Park and the likes of that. Maybe we'll do a little point of view sort of stream. So if you'd be interested in that, give me a shout, and maybe we'll look at doing that tomorrow. But apart from that, smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel, check out all our different content, go check out the Man Show and the Fair Sports Breakfast Club on Monday. It's a bit of a content overload, but isn't that what we want you at the moment? We're just all in about finding all the different rugby that we can. And Jason is saying, W Forever Sports Rugby content during the rivalry tour. See, shout out to you guys. And it only happens because of you guys and your support. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for all of the different build-up. And then if I don't see you tomorrow, we'll see you on Saturday for the game, for the build-up.